wait a minute. Live? Hold on. Okay. We are live. I think we're live. Let me double check. Let me double check. Always have to double check. Oh no, not yet. Hold on. What did I do wrong? Are we live? Let me see. Yep, we are live. Okay. So, hey Pam, Shalom. Yeah, we live, DB. And you know how it goes. It takes a couple seconds for people to wind it down and come on in the room. Um, for this build, I'm excited about. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Do I need to come up with different questions? But even though I ask the same question, the answers are always completely different, and it's always so interesting. So
yeah, I didn't get a question list. So I'm like, okay, it's all good.
Yeah, it's always the same, and it's only 5 questions because I like people to take their time answering too. Because some people's stories are, everybody's story is different. So, but we can get started because it's going to be recorded anyway. So, shalom, shalom, everybody. I'm so excited about this build. My boy, my brother man, he ain't no boy, he's a brother man. DB, Elephant Man Podcast, talking about the elephants in the room. I'll be trying to say it fast like you. I haven't gotten it yet. But
blessings. I am so excited to be here. Blessings. Make sure y'all subscribe to Aruka at the Well. Very straightforward content, very sincere content. Blessings to you, sister. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I was excited about this. I told you in the background, I got to get my brother DB on here because, you have me on your platform twice now. And, I just like chopping it up with people that are trying to keep it positive in this walk. And just trying to get people to remember this is an exciting time. This is kingdom building. We are the light of the world. Everything, there's some positivity that can happen in this group, in this awakening still, even in this dark hour. That's what there has to be a light of the world for the dark hour. There has to be a separation. So I want to be part of that separation. So I'm really, really grateful that you decided to join. You're doing your thing. Y'all make sure like, share, and subscribe. My brother man's page over on YouTube, Elephant Man Podcast. I always try to say it fast and I can't. I'm gonna get it because you rock it out. Go ahead and say it. Just say it. Say it for the people.
Elephant Man Podcast Network, grown man conversation dealing with elephants in the room.
I'm gonna get it. That's the best part. That's the best part. It's your boy, DB. I love it. Man. I really appreciate you coming on, and shalom to everybody coming in. Angela Bowden, Royal Diadem, Sister Pam, Stay on Fire Ministries. Shalom. We're gonna get right into it. We always ask the same questions, but it's always a different answer, and we always end up building on these questions just based on your answer. So, take your time answering the questions, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say to the people. Question number 1: how did you come into the truth?
Wow. Well, I would like to go just a tad bit back, not real far back. I really came into the truth of who we are. I want to say 2016, 2017, more up in there. But I was a minister in training. I got my license and everything at I guess it was a Baptist, missionary Baptist church. I really a mutt. Really, I call myself a mutt because I've on the way coming up, a mutt is just a mixture of everything. So I've been in Kojic, I've been in Apostolic, I've been in just deliverance, been in all kind of different churches. So I don't think I'll see anything that'll throw me off or run me out. Deliverance service, all kind of stuff like that. So I was a minister, whatever. After college, I became a minister, whatever. And pretty much we was fellowshipping with a guy by the name of Art Katz. Now he's a Khazarian brother. Well, he died. Rest in peace, Art Katz. But he's on the Lester Summerall level. Like this man, he's in Michigan. I'm sorry, Minnesota. right? Ben Israel Ministries, and but before I knew that we was the people, I thought that, of course, you know, the Khazarian people was the people, right? And I thought I was a Gentile, but I was cool with it. So we was fellowshipping with the Messianic Hebrew Christians, those who believe in the Messiah but are quote unquote Jews or whatever. So I was already, you know, hanging out with them. We was already on the Shalom and all of that stuff. You know what I mean? So basically, when I came across that, I was in a few ministries. So my first ministry, when I was a minister, I was a Bible Way. I'm sorry, New Hope. Then I went to Bible Way, served there for 10 years as a youth minister, and then I came into the truth. About 2017, like I say, about 2017, when my brother, shout out to Elder Rob Sanders, he was just he's a barber. He was just saying, you know, those people over there in occupied Israel is not the people. And I'm like, word? So it was kind of crazy because we was learning things called Mystery of Israel in the Church. And we still was learning Romans 9, 10, and 11. You know, God has not done away with Israel. He has a redemption plan for Israel and different things like that. So I guess you could say we was like Christian Zionists, I guess. I don't know. But I thought that those were the people. And to make a long story short, you know, we thought that those were the people, but then I started getting researching and different things like that. And of course, everybody get this Pastor Darby. He was very essential, and Tibu and Elder Bishop Danny Coleman. But the stuff that Tibu was teaching just jumped off the page. Of course, the Deuteronomy 28 and the Babylon and Timbuktu book. I read that book, and then the Deuteronomy 28, read the scriptures, and it just, a light bulb just went off all of a sudden. And so that's when I found out about 2016, 17. It wasn't a lot of channels. It wasn't a lot of people. And of course, Ron Dalton was around, and a few other people. Teo and Dante Fortson was around. But it wasn't a lot of channels. So I was eating off of Steve Darby and Tibu and Bishop Danny Coleman real heavy. So I went through my angry phase. I went through I did not, you know, my angry phase was like, who knew this? Why are you hiding maps? Who's the true alliance? Who's with us? You know what I mean? I felt betrayed. I felt hurt. I went through it, and it was good to hear other people say that they went through an angry phase. Some people still in the angry phase. You got to outgrow that angry phase. But I was just so mad. You know what I mean? I was just so upset. And I never got a chance to talk to Brother Art Katz about us being true Israel or anything like that. He passed away. I never got a chance to talk to him about that. And it's very, very interesting. You know, I met Art Katz through Apostle Alexander. And Apostle Alexander was a KCC Ministries, Kingdom Christian Center Ministries. It was like a small house church, and he was ministering with under Tom Bynum, Juanita Bynum's brother in Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah, Tom Bynum and John Eckhart. I don't know if you heard of him, but he was ministering with those guys. So he's from Chicago, and he took us under his wing. We was with him for 2 years. And learning a lot of different things. So that's when we started learning about the mystery of Israel in the church. So I call this Awakening Mystery of Israel in the Church 2.0. You know what I mean? And so it's just very interesting how everything is playing out. And you go through an angry period and then you go through a prideful period. I went through a crazy prideful period. If the Holy Ghost ain't showed you this, then maybe you ain't in the faith. And I went through this crazy, you know what I mean? It's in black and white. Why can't you see it? You know what I mean? But then I had to just, to whom much is given, much is required. I had to be like, okay, I have to pump the brakes and see what the Most High want me to do with this information. But it was such a gem and a jewel, and I know it didn't take the place of Mashiach. That's why I'm glad I was saved before I came into the knowledge, right? Because I think it makes it a harder transition to go, okay, you know we the people, but you don't know who the Mashiach is. So
Mhm.
then you can get into all these different weird doctrines, and they, toss every to and fro with every strange doctrine. So I already knew who I was in Yahusha. I knew who he was, and so then that was just an add-on. And I know he gave it to me, but then a lot of people was like, it don't matter. You say, identity in Christ don't matter. I'm like, no, wait a minute. Italians can be Italian Christians. The Irish can be Irish Christians. Russian can be Russian Christians, but I can't be. It's like I had to choose. It felt like I had to choose. Like I know I choose the Mashiach and I choose my identity.
Right.
And so it was just real weird. It was just like, oh man, I'm not choosing. I'm doing both. I'm choosing both, and I just think that it was such a gem that he gave it to me. And some people look at it as a great falling away. A lot of people look at the awakening as a great falling away.
Yeah.
In scriptures, they look at it as the great falling away. Oh man, you was going so strong in the faith. You know what I mean? And now look what happened. Now you're on the Hebrew Israelite stuff. You know what I mean? And they lump us all together. They lump all of the camps and everything together. And I say that's not fair. You shouldn't do that, because if you look about the different layers of Christianity, some people are touching people, and some people are doing different things inside the church. And so when you say, see, look what the church is doing, you immediately separate yourself and say, well, that's them, but that ain't me. And so I think they should do the same thing when it comes to I guess Hebrew Israelite, being a Hebrew Israelite and stuff like that. But I held on to it. So everybody who was like, it ain't nothing, and your identity's in Christ, and I just like dismissed them almost. You know what I mean? In my angry face. So I don't know if I answered it or whatever.
No, you did, and it's interesting that Sis said that's what she thought at first too. When I started hearing it, the first scripture that came to mind was, and when I started hearing about the truth, there's going to be a great falling away. People are going to be deceived in these last days, and I was like, oh my gosh! And you back in the day, you heard rumblings about Yahusha being, looking more like us. But we thought, we were just saying that just so we could have sort of identity, not knowing that people really knew. But I did. I thought I was tripping, and it took a lot. It took a lot to convince me. And it's sad because I would have to tell people when I started. I was so excited, and I would tell people, I find out we are. And, I believe I'm a Hebrew, but, not like those camps. I would always have to preface it because it just has unfortunately, the reputation was bad. And the things I saw for myself, because in DC, they're at the metros, they're posted up at the metros cussing every white person out. And and it's unfortunate. And so I think, go ahead.
It's a weird place because, okay, like when you come from being in the, I guess, secular and in the world to in the church, it's like you want to be accepted, right? So, and I used to do music, rap, and then I just went over to do gospel rap and stuff like that. So now we coming in. When I came in, the praise dancing and the gospel rap was a little too much street, too worldly, and then but then the content of the gospel rap, the street then was like, oh man, what's going on? It was too much for them. So you was always in this rock and hard place in the middle. So then when we transitioned to saying, okay, we the people, I had to try to, I ain't gonna say kiss up, but I'm like, I want the church to still accept me. You know what I mean? So I to your point, well, man, I'm not like them camps and it's different and you know what I mean? And that was one of the things that I wanted to see, because I knew about the camps, but I'm like, I need to see somebody filled with the Ruach, healing the sick, raising the dead, casting out devils, and still know who they are. So when I seen Darby, when I seen Tebow, I was like, oh, they not harping on we the people every week, right? They're not harping on it every week. They living their life. They teaching ministry. They doing their thing, but they ain't gonna let nobody just say, that don't matter. You know what I mean? So I went through the acceptance phase, trying to accept, see. I make sure I don't say Yahusha too many times, and I throw a few Jesuses in there to let you know I'm still with you. I don't do that no more. And it is what it is. I don't, that's no big eyes and little U's, but I don't do that anymore. When I preach, I'm Yahushua, and it's just off my tongue, and that's what it is. And so it's not a problem. But I don't have a problem if you saying Jesus and stuff like that. But that's just where I'm at and where I'm on. You know what I mean? But to whom much is given, much is required, and I think we need to be patient with one another. You know what I mean? Because if it's a blind spot, they're still Hebrew though, right? They might not see it, they might not recognize. They still Hebrew.
That's right.
You look at the uncle that come to the cookout, he all falling over, he all crazy. Okay, you might say, man, I don't want to deal with him, but he's still your uncle no matter what. So I look at, I don't think it's the season to bang on the church and all that stuff. Not saying we got to live compromising lives, but I don't think we should. I don't think that's what we use with the information we got. But I know I hold on to it. I don't let them make me throw it away, because it's something that the Mashiach. Okay, Abba, where do you want this placed? How do you want me to live this out in my life? What do you want me to do with the information you give me?
That's right. And a lot of us, if we're honest, because I was not raised in the church, I was raised Catholic, and a lot of us, I got saved when I was 29, and I got ordained as an evangelist and all of that. So there was, I was Kojic, and there was a strong foundation built, and they built strong foundation, and there was some teachings and things like that, but there was some strong things that we learned, and you also learned what to do. And I'm with you. It's like we don't know whose heart Yah is going to change. We just don't know. And so the best thing that we can do is pray, instead of we decide we're judge and jury. And those very people that seem like they're just hopeless are the ones that Yah turn around. And I just have this strong feeling of, imagine how different things would be if, instead of us openly criticizing and openly attacking each other, we just prayed for each other. I just think that there would be a rumbling in the Shamaim, and it would cause Yah to move. He's moving now, but I think that if we focused on each other, there's people that they give me a fit, but they're still Hebrew. So you still have to be wise, and you have to have boundaries, but there's almost a free pass that you get, because if you're acting like that, it's symptomatic that you're still lost in a way. And if I'm sick and I'm showing symptoms of sickness, that means somebody's got to go get me something to make me better. And so I feel like if we're looking at our brothers and sisters who may argue with you or curse you out or do those things, it's hard, but Yahushua would have prayed for those people. Yeah, and so some of them, he's like gone now. And those are the ones you have to use wisdom with. But there's some that are just lost, and they don't know they're lost.
Yeah. And that's why I always say, don't throw the baby Jesus out with the bathwater. Don't throw the baby Jesus out with the bathwater, because like all of it is not, it's like wheat and tear growing together. It's mixed up, right? You know what I mean? So to say, if we throw the whole faith away, I was like, no, I'm getting somebody. I can show you somebody that don't know who we are, filled with the Holy Spirit, can pray down heaven, and they still meet on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And they don't even know who we are like that. Mm-hmm. Right? So, and then I look at the different things. Okay, this Ak over here, he's clowning or whatever, and he giving a license to have polygamy and have 7 wives and all this stuff. And then we got this deacon man, quote unquote religious deacon man, first one there, last one to leave, faithful every day. And he been married to his wife for 30, 40 years. You know what I'm saying? So the fruit and being kept, it's like, you just can't throw him away. You know what I mean? I don't never want to pronounce and know all his names, but don't know him. I don't want to be able to say all his names, and then he say, depart from me, you worker of iniquity, I never knew you. But I'm saying all your names right. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know you. Right? And so that's not going to happen. I don't want that to happen. So
that's right. So what has the journey been like for you since you've been in the truth?
Again, so I went from the angry phase, but it was cool to find other people with the angry phase, and then but then I came out of the angry phase, and then I came out of I didn't want to get rejected, because I'm like, look, I just left this world. Now I don't want this church to reject me, but you know. So I'm going to just be cool and calm, but then it's like, nah, this stirring up in my spirit, this connecting the dots, it makes sense, right? And I just think that we've been taught, and it's okay because we got some Gentiles that's really sincere, but they've been taught it the scripture wrong, right? You know, what I mean,
Mhm.
you get the people, your eschatology messed up if you get the people wrong. That's just what I believe. You know, what I mean, you're looking at the wrong marker, right? You think if scripture's being fulfilled, and you know, and it's just it mess everything up. But when you put everybody in their proper space and proper place, uh James started to make sense. Isaiah started to make sense. Jeremiah started to make sense. Ezekiel started to make sense. All these different books start to make sense. So my journey is right now. I'm content where I'm at. Um, you know, I wear what I wear. You know what I mean. Sometimes I might have something. I might just say shalom on it. I might say shalom on it. Might wear my kufi, whatever. But it's not that I'm looking down at nobody. I'm like representing y'all. You know, I stay in a chocolate city, so I try to show peace and love and try to show the opposite of what we've been the stereotype of what a Hebrew Israelite is. And so, but I stand 10 toes, 12 tribes down. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
I try not to compromise from it. And it's a desire in me to want to do the feast, want to do to keep the commandments. It's a desire in you, so that the awakening is not just we the people. It's something more. It's something that's being restored, right? And people just they wig out and spaz out. You're trying to proselytize us. You're trying to put us back under the law. We accept the Republic of Jesus, so we don't need to go back under the law. He just made us free. And I'm gonna tell you about that Republic of Jesus thing in a minute. But it's like, no, it is a standard, right? It's the Moses, the law brings us to Yahusha, but we still need the law. We still need the commandments. We still need to
That's
know
right.
the standard. We still need the plumb line. We still need the chief cornerstone. We still need these different things as our foundation. And they're not done away with, but we've been taught it how it's like, okay, well, none of that stuff matter. And I believe that people say none of that stuff matter because it's so much history, right? Because the awakening is going to happen, but you don't want you to come across the Deuteronomy. You come across First and Second Kings, First and
Mhm.
Second Samuel, all these different things. They don't want you to come across these different things. That's why it started the New Testament. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about all the Old Testament. But they was quoting the quote unquote Old Testament during New Testament time. They was living it out and quoting the Old Testament.
That's right.
They was quoting it. So it's like, how is it just done away with? And Bibles with all of the Old Testament gone and other books missing. And so to answer your question in short, I'm comfortable with the skin I'm in, right? I can walk into a room. It's okay to be the eyeball. I don't look down at people. I just try to always show love. I know I'm being watched, and it's okay. You know what I mean? I don't try to please the people. You know what I mean? I try to please the Most High, and
Right.
that's easier said than done. That's why I want to have them hard conversations. The Elephant Man podcast is grown man conversations dealing with elephants in the room. We got to have these conversations. We don't want to have these conversations, right? We never come to the end of a thing if we don't have these conversations, and not no scripted. Okay, when they say this, we gonna say that. When they
Right.
talk about this, we gonna no. Let's have a real dialogue. That doesn't mean that you're weak in the faith. That doesn't mean that lost your religion or whatever. Let's have this true dialogue, right? And the Most High is doing it. He's
That's right.
doing it. So, I'm no longer trying to impress nobody. I'm no longer angry, right? I don't do all that because it's kind of like in the middle too. Because some of the brews they come up with weird doctrine. That's why I say don't throw the baby Jesus out with the bathwater. Joseph was Yahusha's father, and it's just a lot of weird, like, no, it wasn't, because he'd still be born in sin, shape of iniquity, if it wasn't divine. You know what I
That's
mean? So
right.
we don't
That's
let
right.
people come and add. They just throw the whole everything away. No, you went through that church uh, for a season. You went through those different things for a season, and it wasn't all bad. So don't throw it all away. So you ask the Most High to show me how to discern, chew the meat, and spit out the bones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people throw it away because they don't realize that subconsciously, excuse me, the way their heart was in Christianity is still the same in this
Yes.
walk.
Yes.
And they haven't had a heart change. They didn't have a heart change in Christianity. And so it can't transfer over into this walk. And I think it's happening. And, I think that people are missing the fact that, some people were forced to go. You just went out of habit or out of obedience, but you never became intimate with Yahuwah. Or like somebody said this a long time ago, in Christianity, some people never have a formal introduction to Yahusha. And so they know church inside and out. They know about things that even though we were mistaught, they know about those things hands down. But what do they do when Yah starts to put a little heat up on them and he wants to start to skim off some of that dross? They can't handle it and they panic, and so they pull back. And unfortunately, there's a lot of ministries that are teaching to be lukewarm, but then at the same time, there's teaching and some people just don't grab a hold of it, and that's a heart condition. And so that's what my concern in Yasharel through this journey is. The heart condition that I'm seeing. And those are the things we have to pray about because people are so lost.
You know what?
They're lost in the house.
I was naive to think this, that okay, we know that Yahusha was bronze, and hair like wool and different things like that. Okay, they might have changed the color of them and all of this stuff and then say it don't matter. But then when it comes to the casting couch, you're making another movie, Chosen. I'm like, okay, you say it don't matter, but you're still doing the same looking person at the casting couch. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't care if he was blue. I'm just glad he claimed to save souls and all that. No, you keep it true to that because of different things that's going on in your heart.
That's
you know what I mean? And so I just be like, all right, not saying you got to make him a brother. I mean, you should. But I'm just like, man, what's really going on? Because when he cracked that sky and he got an afro, it's gonna be terrible. You know what I mean? He might not have an afro. I mean, he might be so his glorified body be so glorified and just be so wild. But he might crack the sky with an afro. You know what I'm saying? And so, but I'm just saying, I was naive to think, okay, they could change the color of his skin, but they would never change the interpretation of the book. No one is ever crazy enough to do that. When I was younger, I used to think that, but then we look at the history, and it was a political move. It was you know what I'm saying? What was Constantine's motives for changing and making Christianity a state religion, and this church father and this pope, and it wasn't because they had a heart change and they was seeking Yah, and they had a different motive. So if your foundation is a different motive for power, prestige, for honor, for position from the jump, and you pass that down, we 400-500 years in, and we tripping off what the church fathers said and how they did it and what this pope did, and that don't matter, and you explain away the Shabbat and say, well, every day is a rest day. It don't even matter, and we change all of this different stuff, and we let them change it for us, right? But then you don't keep their Easter, don't keep their Christmas, don't keep their Lupercalia, Valentine's Day, and they have a fit, right? Don't keep their Halloween or whatever, and they have a fit, but then they look at you crazy when you try to. I mean, I desire to keep the feast days.
That's it.
I desire to keep the feast day. These are appointed times with the Most High. The Most High say, meet me on the corner of 5th and Lincoln at 2:00, and you on 9th and Jefferson, you're going to miss that appointment. I said 5th and Lincoln at 2:00. And I'm going to meet you there, and I got something for you. And you're like, man, why are we missing? Because you went to 9th and Jefferson at 5:00 instead of 5th and Lincoln at 2:00. And so I think we missed these rich times with the Most High that he set aside. But anyway,
that's right.
We'll get off of that.
It's almost an honor because we as a people never had anything that we called our own. We done followed everybody's practices, and obviously
Yeah.
that's how we got to where we are. And so this is ours. And so we have to, we have to just think like this is ours. This is something special and set apart specifically for me, between me and Yah, direct connect during this time. And if we would think about it that way, that it should make it more special, just like the Shabbat. I tell the women in Aruka at the well, by Monday, I'm like, man, I can't wait for Shabbat. Y'all will, and I'm looking forward to it because it's such a beautiful set apart day. And if when you look at, I know I've said this before, but when you look at Sundays and like, oh, it doesn't matter, Sunday can be the Sabbath. Listen, when I was in church, we got up. Saturday, I kind of, you're still unwinding from Friday from work. Sunday, you get up, you're rushing around getting everything ready for church. You spend half the day in church. You come home, you got to cook that big Sunday dinner. Then you got to get everything ready. Just saying it doesn't sound like it's a holy set apart day. And so we have to not feel uncomfortable about listening. And like Pam is she's harping on this lately. There's one verse, my people don't consider. And if we would just consider how beautiful it is that these days that are not hard to fulfill are specifically for us. Yah was like, let them have Christmas. Let them have that. I have this over here. And I'm going to tabernacle with you. I'm not tabernacling with anybody in Christmas or in Easter. The devil is going to tabernacle with those people, but let me tabernacle with you during these times. And we would see some crazy good things happen. And that's why, it's like I even started changing my vacation time a little bit so that I could be in the moment of these set apart days. We can't get all the days off, but as many as we can and as much as we can honor it, I think it touches the Most High's heart when we do that. I really do.
Yes, absolutely.
And we're practicing for when we get in the land, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So before I get to this next question, you're going to have to elaborate on Republican Jesus. Is that what you said?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me get that. So I try not to say that a lot because people get offended. But okay.
Yeah.
So it's like Genesis 1:26 said, we are made in the image and likeness of Yahweh. Right. So we're supposed to come up. He said, my thoughts are not your thoughts, my ways are not your ways. However, you get my ruach, you can get my thoughts, you can get my ways. I'm paraphrasing the end, and you can come up. You come up to me, right? You don't. I don't come down to you. So, I come down to you. I sup with you. Come learn of me. My yoke is easy, my burden is light. But I think of a Build-A-Bear. So, like a Build-A-Bear, you can, or a Burger King sandwich. You have it your way. You can do whatever. You can add this. You can take that away. You can make it how you want it. You can customize it, right? You can customize it. If you don't like a scripture, you can take your Sharpie and scratch it out. Or if you want to harp on something, you can highlight this. And so Republican Jesus is a 30-year-old white male Republican man, right? And there's nothing wrong with a 30-year-old white male Republican man. I'm not dogging Republican or Democrat. I don't do any of that. But I'm saying, so it's a custom-made Yahusha in the mind of people. So they're not learning him as he is, right? They're making his customs, his laws, his tradition, who he is, what he said, how he did it, and their image and their likeness and their custom and their culture, right? They made him Greco-Roman. They made him Hellenistic, right? And he fights against gays, and he fights against the terrorists and the communists and the woke people. You know what I mean? This is the Republican Jesus. And it's like, he is not a 30, what he died when he was 33-year-old white Republican man. So that's what I mean by Republican Jesus. So it's like it's a made up person, like the Caesar Borgia picture. Right. And I think the reason they keep pushing that picture, because when he cracked the sky and you see Caesar Borgia, and it's gonna be like, man, there you go. And it's like, no, that's not him. So and I think this is the reason why we that critical race theory is a problem. The reparations is a problem. The all of this stuff is a problem, right? So I'll hire somebody that keep feeding me uh, the lies, right? To, you know what I mean? Instead of telling me the God honest truth, let me deal with the God honest truth. Because
Right.
that's a terrifying thing to say, okay, this is what Yahushua should look like. These are his people. His laws, statutes, and commandments meant this and not Greco-Roman translation of it. Then it's going to make you think, oh, man, Gator break. Ooh, keep it redlining. Ooh, the war on drugs. Ooh, the it's a terrifying thing to say, man, we've been clowning, right? To come to the grips of that. So to stay in a lie and be turned over to a reprobate mind is a worse state than to come and dealing with the truth. Oh man, lynchings. Oh man, all this different stuff. You know what I mean? 40 acres of mules and $100. That's like, okay, I'm gonna show you your heart. You will set aside money for Ukraine. They're not even over here. You want, to get that land back to build Khazaria 2.0, right?
Right. Yes.
Once they get kicked out of the Israel, we got to go home then. So we need to go home. We need to, they know exactly who they are and where they need to go, right? They know war in Ukraine. That's what old Khazaria is, right? And so we shelling out all this money and taking refugees in and immigrants but then when it comes to true Yasharal, it's like, man, kick bricks. And it's like, man, that's a scary thing.
That's right.
So I even pray for my enemy because it's like, he said, vengeance is mine. And it is a scary thing. So I just think that he's an imaginary person. Not Jesus is not imaginary, but this person that they made in their mind is not real. It's not the real Mashiach. That's when I say that.
And while you were saying that, conversely, a lot of us are doing that in the truth.
Yes.
We're making up our own Messiah. We're making up, he hates everybody.
He's frowned up with a big old white afro, like, he's I don't know if that's him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He mad and he, and he said, my mercy endure forever. He said, my fury is for a moment, but my mercy endure forever. Right? That's mad. You're mad at everybody, right? But this ain't Mashiach. You done made him in your image, so we got to be careful on our end too. I agree with you.
That's right. Okay, so what is the difference that you can see since you left the church? The difference between being in the awakening and the church.
I just think it's the revelation. I don't really think I really left the church like we call it followers of the way, the Quote Shem and different things like that. And they just think, oh, that's just another word for church, right? And they just inserted church. So, but I think one of the main things is the understanding of certain things. Like I said, I don't throw everything away because a lot of those things that I learned, even the fruit of the spirit, being kind, those different things, I hold on to those things. You know what I mean? Even though I'm working on some different things, but I hold on to them. And so, but I think the main thing is just being blown away that we went from a byword, a nothing, a nobody per se. I knew 3/5 of a man, a monkey, a gorilla, all this stuff to the seed of God. I was like, what? Wow. So it's like, and I didn't use that word God, but I'm just like, it's just hard to, it's just like, wow, it's just amazing. To me, the Mashiach came down, wrapped himself in clothing. He got a people, he got a nation, and it's just like, wow, man. So I think that's the main thing. You know what I mean? It's just the difference in that, and then the patience. Because sometimes I still serve on ministries on Sunday. You know what I mean? They may, hey, man, doc, we need to come up and preach or whatever. But one of the things that I could take from it is I am who I am. I'm Shalom. I'm Shalom. I'm all who I am. I'm not trying to be difficult, right? But I'm in a space. You're not gonna I don't want you to think that you're gonna win me back or no. As long as you know, oh, come on, Doc, it don't matter. Come on, okay, come as I am. You already know where I stand on certain things, and if you try to make me do something else, or I'm not being rebellious to the angel of the house or nothing, but I don't do that. So you will not see me on that date when
That's right.
you know, but the Most High is showing me patience in that, because I'm gonna tell you, once I had left the last church I was at, I just thought we was gonna be home church, meeting on Shabbat, this, that, and the other, and it ain't been like that. So I'm serving at a local church. They meet on Sundays, right? But it's a few brothers, and some of the people know we the people, straight up and down. They know we the people, and so, but it makes me more patient, right? It reminded me of the Mountain of Transfiguration when he was up there with Kepha. Yahushua was up there with Kepha, and John is like, man, we finna make three. We finna make one for you, one for Elijah, one for Moshe. We gonna just chill up here and just. He said, no, we gotta go back down the valley. We got more work to do. We're not gonna just stay here and rest here, right? It's more work to do. It's still souls that need to be saved. There's still people that need to know about you, right? And I didn't want to be like waiting for the second Exodus. It's like, man, we're doing the same thing they did with the rapture. It seemed like sometimes, you know what I mean? It's like we're waiting for the second Exodus and we got our arms crossed and your day is coming. And we just ain't gonna tell nobody about the goodness of Yahushua no more. We ain't gonna tell them about his, we ain't gonna tell them nothing, huh? We just gonna wait for the Exodus. So that's what they did with the rapture, right? We just, oh man, when the tough, we gonna just fly away from here and we gonna be out of here. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like, no, we still got work to do until he tell us what to do. Whether he put it, when the ships of Tarshish come and it's time to go to the continent, let's roll out. But until then, he said, 1,000 fall at thy one side and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it will not come thy thee. And we are the light. And so it'll make the job easier, I believe. Because when people think, well, I'm good, love, I don't need your Yahushua, whatever. We new age, we age of Aquarius now, blah, 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 right? We cool. But all this stuff going on and derailments and weather and the bank, making the job easy to tell them about the Mashiach. Like, wow. Like, yeah, this is jumping off, right?
That's right.
Sometimes I just do the 1619 to 2019 is 400 years, and I leave it at that. And if they want to ask me some more about it, then I tell them some more about it. And so I don't know if people was expecting that 2019 it was just going to be whatever. But if you think about it, it's not been the same since 2019. It has been a flip. It has been a change. So to be in denial and say, no, I don't believe that and this, that, and the other. Okay, that's the same argument as pre-trib, post-trib, and mid-trib rapture. Well, I don't believe in the 400 years. I don't believe. Okay, well, I'm not going to cuss you out because you don't believe in the 400 years, but just, and it's not a, I told you so either. Getting to on the continent, I told you. Nah, man, look, they had guillotines and we all, man, look, we made it from the guillotines. It's all good. You know what I mean?
That's right.
It's just like, it's just so many layers, right? And that's the reason why I think he give us revelation in increments, right? He don't give us the whole thing because we'd be besides, we going crazy with the little bit of revelation we got. It's like, man, you going crazy, man. Look here. Keep that. Meditate on that. I'll tell you when to release that. I'll tell you what to release, how to release, when to release it. You beside yourself because I done gave you a little nugget. What if I give you the whole thing? You'll go crazy. You'll go crazy. That's why the fivefold ministry, look, I'm going to do evangelist, preacher, teacher, apostle, prophet, for the edification, for the edifice, the building up, the edification of the Quote of Shem, the followers of the way. I still believe in that. You get what I'm saying? And so, but I'm not gonna give you 3 of the fivefold ministry. You'll go crazy because you're still in the flesh.
That's right.
The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So the Abba is a good Abba, and he shows us different things. So I wrestle back and forth, sometimes, because I don't want to be compromising. You feel me?
Yeah.
to be honest. But then at the same time, it's showing me so much on the flip side as well. So that's the
right.
biggest thing I learned. That's the biggest thing I learned.
Yeah. And I harp on this, but I'm just like, where in the word did y'all say, okay, I'm gonna set this word up, I'm gonna set the Bible up for you, and it's gonna be like one of those mystery rooms that people go, everybody's into that new thing where you go to this place and you gotta figure out all these clues to get out the room. That's y'all didn't tell us to do that.
Yeah.
He's concealing certain matters until it's time. He's not telling us, I'm part of this journey is you're gonna have to figure out where we're going. We don't have to figure out anything. He said, Yahushua said, follow me. He makes it so simple, it's too hard for us.
Wow.
And he said, follow me. He said, seek me first.
Wow.
He said, trust me. He said, repent. He said, prepare your hearts. Make sure your lamp is filled with oil. He didn't say, you all need to be fighting over DNA. He didn't say, you all need to be fighting on my name. He didn't say any of that. What he said was, follow me. And then he said, pray for your brothers and your sisters. And then he said, love your brothers and sisters and love your enemies. Those are the things we're supposed to be doing right now. And we're so stuck on the stuff that's his, to me, like Yahushua always talked about his father's business. That stuff is his Yah's business. We're supposed to be doing kingdom building. That's our business. And we can't do both. We can't constantly fight with people and fuss with people and try to figure all this stuff out. He's like, just follow me. Just do what I did.
Wow. Yeah.
Just seek me. And for some reason, it's so simple, but it's hard. And it goes back to the heart condition. When I sit back and I watch these platforms and I see people yelling and arguing and doing all kinds of things, and this segues into my next question. This is what I see: a broken man child, or a broken woman child that didn't heal from childhood wounds. And they've kind of brought that limp into their adulthood. They're smart. They have all these gifts, but that broken piece has never been addressed. And so with all the intelligence and all the revelation we're getting, we're bringing that broken person in. So if somebody says, well, I don't agree with that, don't you talk about me and say this and you don't know, because that wounded child has never been healed. And so that's the stuff
that's good.
Focus on. You know what I'm saying? That's what he wants us to focus on.
Man.
So the next question. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I said that's heavy. That's all I said. That's heavy. You know what I mean? And it goes into this when and I was a babe in Mashiach before I knew who he was. If you wasn't in the faith, I'm gonna tell you how religiously proud I was. If you wasn't in the faith, you couldn't tell me nothing. So what I mean is, like, you ain't saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Spirit. You can't tell me nothing. But the Ruach is like, okay, he's on time. He's punctual. You're not on time. He don't know who I am, but you can learn punctuality from him. She's kind. This, that, and the other. She don't have a brass. She ain't not in the faith. You know who I am, but she's more kind than you. So he started breaking me down. I'm like, ooh, wee. So, and if you tarry long enough and you intercede and stand in the gap, and they see me in you and glorify me, then they can get what you got.
That's right.
But if you are prideful, they ain't gonna get nothing, right?
And
if it's about it ain't about being right, it's about his righteousness. So I was like, ooh wee. So I can learn something from. I couldn't learn nothing from kids. They're younger than me, man. You can't tell me nothing. The Most High, like, look here, I talked to a donkey. I'm gonna talk to this kid. This 5-year-old kid come tell you this, that, and the other, and it's like, ooh. Man, it sounds like he got a little smartness in his mouth, but he telling the truth because he's honest and he pure. He a child. He don't know no better. And man, he used a child to come tell me about myself. So anyway, but go ahead.
You're telling the truth. You're telling the truth. And there was the sister I ran the streets with before I got saved or any of that, and she got saved first, and then I got saved, and all of a sudden she became pompous, and she looked down on people, and I was like, listen, I would when I moved here, and I would take my kids home for the summer. I would go ahead to the block where I used to hang out, and she'd be like, "What were you doing there with them?" I'm like, because they need to see a difference, so they can be drawn to the difference. How are they going to see it? And so I don't know what people think when the scripture says, "How will they know unless somebody is sent?" What do you think Yah is sending us to?
Wow.
Into a church with a bunch of saved people to regurgitate off of each other? No, he's sending you back to those places that you overcame. And he's sending you back to those places that he pulled you out of so he could dress you up, clean you up, restore you, and send you back. So those same people, so you have two different people, like you said. And I will go back and then it was funny because I was standing there, and I used to wear, like, I still wear braids, but I wore them real long. And one of them, they were sitting on the porch smoking weed. I was standing back because I didn't want to smell like it. But, it blew into my hair. And I didn't know that until the church lady next door came out. And I said, "Oh, hey, Sister Nancy." She came over and she hugged me, and my hair swung around. And it smelled like weed. And she like, and I didn't smoke anything. But she backed up and she rolled her eyes at me and she walked away. And I was like, see, and that's why I don't want to be like that. Or, I didn't know how to dress properly for church. And this one lady, she was just so mean. And I said, you know what's funny? If I take this same outfit and go to that club that I left to come in here to make a difference, to be different, they would accept me better than you will. And something's wrong with that. And that lady shut her mouth. I'm not saying we come in raggedy, but if we come in and the people that have paved the way before us are still broken, how can they help me to want to see a difference? How can they help me to want to be to want to see a change and to be reformed? And we can't if we stay in the same place, and then we become Pharisees and we become pompous. And that same thing, people get upset about callings, and they want you to acknowledge their call. That's a calling. That's not a title. We're supposed to honor it and reverence it. And we're supposed to humble ourselves when Yah brings us into these callings. And we're supposed to say, you know what? That's another form of servitude. But we in this, that's why the scripture says knowledge puffs up, because we have to be careful that you get filled with knowledge. It's supposed to be for us to regurgitate it to somebody who doesn't have it yet. Not to you get puffed up and you kind of elevate yourself. Yeah. When really that knowledge is supposed to humble you and bring you down, keep you at the level of people that need Yah and don't know him yet.
And that's one thing when I came into the knowledge and I started seeing these other channels, some of the channels, and I'd be impressed. And I would say, "Whoa, I got to step my game up. I didn't even know there was. I didn't even know about that Bible, the translation at all, and I didn't know about the complete Jewish Bible. Knew that, but this other one over here, what? You know what I mean? And so you learning these different things. So it's like cool, and they got that learn part, and it's real tough. You know what I mean? And then it's like, okay, I'm gonna see some Ruach. It's almost the Holy Ghost, and it's like, man, you ain't got it. And I'm not dogging you because you ain't got it, but it's like, man, we can scratch each other's back, but I'm not envious of you because you can say that the word better now than I don't envy nobody. Like, man, we're not in competition. We are broken people, so hurt people. So the scripture say, "Beloved, above all things, I wish that you may prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prosper."
That's
so
right.
That's basically saying that your soul is prospering, right? And you can help others. And then it also says the joy of the Most High is your strength. So you got this joy, but then if you cantankerous and angry and mean, then it's going to repel instead of attract. They need to be attracted to the Ruach in you. They need to be attracted to the Ruach in you to ask the question. They need to be attracted to the Ruach in you and ask the question, right? Not looking at, I don't even want to go. They should want to be one to come with, man, I want to know, man. man, you tarried with me, man. You came and visited me when I was sick. You know, man, I was down bad, and you gave me some money for my groceries, no questions asked. You didn't put my business out on the street or whatever. You know what I mean? They see
Mhm.
your good works and glorify Mashiach and the Shemayim. But that's all I had to say on that one.
That's it. So you kind of touched on it, but we only have two left, and you're almost off the hook. But the next question is, what do you think of the current state of our community?
Current what?
The current state of our community.
Oh man. Well, you know, like when you first come into the faith, you be like, yes, man, you know, you got this honeymoon phase, you like excited, woo, you know, the joy and the most high, you know, it's no requirements and nothing. You just getting loved on like a newborn baby. Then
Mhm.
and later on, it's like, oh snap, what's going on? You know, all you're naive to the things that's going on. I'm talking about the church, and then I'm gonna tell about you're
Okay.
naive, and it's like, oh man, what's going on? You know, but like I said, when I went to college, I pledged. So I'm like, oh, I know what this is. I'm back online. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, bet. And you know, I'm an MIT minister in training. Okay, I know what this is. I ain't gonna be broke. You know, people church hurt and hurt people and all that. No, I ain't. No, I know
Right.
what this is. But then that song came out, I Need You to Survive. I love you, you love me. We are part of God's family. Stand with me, agree with me. You know, I won't harm you with words from my mouth and all these different things. And man, I'm gonna tell you, grown man was crying. Cause I'm like, wow,
Mhm.
wow, it's not supposed to be like that. I'm not online, I'm not pledging, right? You know, the Ruach ain't trying to toughen me up so I can be a soldier in the army. Wow. And so that carrying over to your question, how I feel about the community. When I first got into the awakening, I was loving it. I was excited, and I still am excited. Um, but it's just like, man, we majoring in the minors and the oil. He said the oil, the lamps that's it got to be full when he comes and not half full. I believe people are just spilling oil, and they're gonna be half
Ooh.
full when the Mashiach coming. It's just like, man, there's no need for that. It's not about you being right. It's not about I told you so. So it's about His righteousness.
That's
And
right.
but I also think it's the our community is hurt, like you said, and it's a lot of trauma. We've been through a lot of trauma, and no one are we looking for a true alliance, and we deal with rejection, and we deal with bitterness, and we deal with all this different stuff. We deal with the self-hate, and so I'm like, oh man, ain't nobody coming to our aid. Well, that's my job to be more patient with my people, be more intercede, stand in the gap. It's my job to be more patient for them. They've been through a lot. They've been scattered.
Mhm.
Their diet's been changed. They haven't been scattered physically. They've been scattered spiritually and mentally. Right now, some people always say, "Well, you did it to yourself. This, that, and the other." The Most High did. Okay, we get that, but now we need to come out of it. See, if I went to jail,
Mhm.
if I broke the law and I served 15 years in jail, if I don't do better, I'm gonna go back in. I'm gonna stay in the constant state that I'm in. So I need some divine help. I need some help. Okay. So not just that the time is up, 400 years is up. I need some divine help, right? And I
That's
need somebody
right.
to assist me. I need some, you know what I mean? We might not can't
Mhm.
sit on no couch and tell the psychologist, and I'm not against psychology, but man, look, we gotta just cry out to the most high. Yo, this is where I'm at, this, that, and the other. And don't take everything personal. They lashing out at you, you lashing out at them, and y'all both wounded, hurting vessels that did with a lot of trauma, that deal with a lot of stuff, man. You got people in Hollywood dealing with rejection. I'm like, you are a multimillionaire and your feelings is hurt because you didn't get an Oscar, an Emmy, a Grammy. What? So I didn't understand that. Feel me? But they want to be accepted. They want to be they want to be accepted into this camaraderie. Man, I acted my tail off. I sung my song. I did whatever, and I want to be accepted into this too, right? And so we got to know that we're accepted in the beloved, right?
Mhm.
And we looking around and we don't even know He loved us with a fiery love. He's jealous for us. And we got to know that, and so we can't cover what the nations are doing. We got to lead by example. You see what I'm saying? We like, man, that nation got a king. When we was in First and Second Samuel, this nation got a king. That nation got a king. But hello, you got the King of Kings, right?
Come on.
So why do you need a physical king? But nevertheless, I'm gonna give you what you want, like your manna, like your quail. Here's the king. Here you go. We choose him. He looked like a king. Oh, you choose Saul. Okay, he gonna be on point for a minute, but then after that, he gonna go right. Then I'm gonna give you a king after my own heart, right? Until the Mashiach come. So it's like you always had me. You trying to get acceptance from the outside, but you always have my love on the inside. And so that's what we're going back to, that love that's on the inside, that acceptance. That's one thing. That's why that I'm not as angry no more, right? I'm not trying to prove nothing to nobody. I'm not trying to come around you and do this so you can accept me. You know what I mean? And no, I'm accepted in the beloved.
That's it.
So I think the state is it's a lot of wounded people, and we all got parts. And the Bible said we prophesy in part, we preach in part, we teach in part, right? I'm paraphrasing it, but we all got our part. But guess what? When we bring our parts together, the tapestry, the quilt that we're making, the lively stones that's fitted together, the puzzle will make more sense. It'll make more sense if we all come together. Oh man, you got this part, okay. You got that part, okay, brother. Well, I don't really agree with that part, but have you ever seen it like this, or have you ever heard it like that? Well, no, this, that, and other. Okay, well, I still don't agree, but I don't hate you, and I'm not gonna do no hit piece on you. We just don't agree on that part. All right, it's cool. I ain't gonna call you no dumb and all this all different crazy stuff. Okay, we don't agree on that part, but I'm not dismissing your part that you got, right? I ain't gonna call you no false prophet. Call you, man. We all got different parts, right? Now there is a false doctrine. There is a doctrine of devils. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying, Abba Yah, give me discernment. Abba Yah, teach me how to chew the meat and spit out the bones. Abba Yah, what is of you and what is not of you? What's the root of different things, right? Sometimes people come together, or they got things because they want. They got an agenda. Yeah, Abba Yah, show me the agendas. Show me the Trojan horses, right? Do they got to be the smartest kid in the class, the sharpest knife in the drawer, or are they really, really? Because sometimes you get frustrated, right? You get excited about the truth, and you want to show and tell the world, and they like, nah, it's nothing. And you like, what? I didn't read, I didn't studied, I didn't put it out, I didn't, So now the insults coming. You're a dummy. You don't know. You just no. They didn't put in the hours that you put in, right? He said, come and learn of me. They haven't supped with him. They don't know that part. So you tarry with him and you break that part down till they get it.
That's right.
And even if they don't get it, you still tarry and pray for them. But I don't know if I answered your question now.
I think you really did. You summed it up. And there's two components that I pulled out of what you said. The first is we haven't healed, and the second is because we haven't healed, we're not able to love on each other the way we need to, or be patient with each other, or that long suffering thing. And we're so quick to react to each other, and we're so quick to tear each other down that we're forgetting that people are watching us. And especially, and this goes into the next question, especially those who are new to the truth. And I remember when everybody was all hyped up about Berean, and there was a panel, and Ashonda that I gained a lot of respect for her because she said, you know what? I can't do this anymore. And you probably remember, it was a whole platform, and she said, I realized that some of the people that are watching us are new to the truth. And what kind of reflection is this of Yah? And if Yah is saying that we are being conformed into the image of his son, we have to self-examine and say, when I see people arguing and fighting and doing the things they do, or working behind the scenes against another ministry, or ministries that have just changed and they're abusing people, is that the image of his son? What have you been conformed into, and whose hand did it? And we have to self-examine. And we were when I did this lesson on having oil in your lamp, the 10 the 5 foolish and the 5 wise virgin, or you know what I mean. The lamp fit in the palm of your hand. And so you can only see a couple steps in front of you when you illuminate that lamp. And that's why we have to constantly make sure we're prepared to add more to it, because we're trying to get to an end goal. But I'm focused on your lamp. I'm focused on why you're holding your lamp the way you're holding it. I'm focusing on you didn't trim it. It is burning. It's doing fine, but I'm still focusing. And all the while I'm focusing on your lamp, my light is dimming.
Wow.
And I can see it because I'm looking at your lamp. And everybody's ministry is not for everybody. Don't dog out another ministry. Don't argue. Don't drag another ministry. Like you said, don't do a hit piece. Just there's certain ministry, and you're one of them. I'll be honest. You guys don't get caught up. Like Yoshiyahu, the Ark, they dragged that man through the mud. He didn't say a word. He stayed the course. And I've watched current events happen. He might touch on it a teeny bit, but for the most part, he doesn't. He stays the course. He's focusing on the prize of the high calling. He's focusing on kingdom building. And it's very inspiring to me. And I may not always agree with everything he says, but he gets much respect from me, because he's not. I've seen. We've all seen videos where they just tried to rip him apart. He didn't even mention it. But wow. You know what I'm saying? And it takes a lot of strength under control to do that. I have people that leave Aruka. Sometimes they leave well, and sometimes they leave not so well. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes things happen, but I have to stay the course. And what y'all showed me is, they're going to dog you behind your back. They're going to say the things that you say. But he's like, but that's my business. That's not your business. You focus on the business at hand that I gave you. I'll handle my business with them. Because if they're coming to you, I don't care who it is. That's between me and them. That's not between you and them. And I try to stay. It doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I want to say this about the whole Berean thing. So I'm excited. I think I caught a glimpse of Berean when I was first coming to the knowledge. I was still in my Aggie phase, but I like the stuff. I like Sister E. You know what I mean? She was on there. I was like, yeah, go ahead, sister. Tell them. And so as time went on, different things would happen, and it would have him thinking. I'm like, oh, this is it right here. He's finna come into the knowledge of who we are. And yes. And then he will wiggle out of it. And then something else will come up. And I'm not dogging, I'm just telling you, we just talk.
It's so just like, oh, man, I watched the same thing you saw.
And he wiggle out of it. And then, the saints that don't know who we are, they're like, oh man, you turned into a Hebrew. And then he went back and forth. And so I was like, oh, I came to the conclusion, like, oh, this is, I don't know what his motive is, but he's not trying to get no answer. He don't want no. I want to, if I can get a definitive answer, I'll take it. I'm not just going around and get these people to argue, and now I got 3,000 in the chat. No. I want an answer for real. And if I'm standing 10 toes down, and some change my mind, and Ruach tell me something, I'll come back and say, yo, I believed A, but now I believe B, and here's why. And because I don't want to be no stumbling block, and it's not about that. So I was like, so I just quit watching all together. No shade on that brother. If you watch him, whatever. But I'm just like, oh, he not really trying to. This is some, man, I feel like some jailhouse religion where y'all get around and you got the Muslim in there, you got the Hebrew in there, you got a Jehovah's Witness dude in there, you got the street gang leader in there, and it's like, no, you got the 5%. Y'all just talking. We're not coming to no conclusion of the matter. And it's just like, man, no, that's not why I'm here. And 5-6 hours just going in. Then you're dragging the Hebrews to the mud, then you inviting them back on, and then you're doing it. That's like, man, you know, pews twice, and I'm like, man. So I just like, I'm hungry. Who gonna feed me? I just man,
Come on.
when Steve and Darby died, man, I was like, man. I wonder what Steve, and then you still play some stuff for 2016, 17. It's like he's still alive. Because it's like that stuff, it's like his ministry, like that's how David Wilkerson is. You can play his stuff right now, something he did from 83. And it's like, ooh, he said that. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
whole Times Square church is quiet, but he's spitting literature. And it's just like, wow, he said that back in 83, and it's happening right now in 2023. So, but anyway, that was just my thing on that. But I came to the conclusion that he wasn't, in my opinion, trying to get an answer. Then I just was like, oh, okay, well, whatever.
Yeah, I saw he was on a platform and Divine Prospect was on there. And I was following a ministry that was just hardcore. And you know, I partially came to the truth of their ministry, but there was no grace and no mercy coming from that ministry. And I started to feel condemned. And Divine Prospect was on there, a bunch of other people, and Berean was on there, and Divine ministered in that place about Yah's mercy. People, and you could see it was moving him. But then at the end, it was like, nope. And with Mike, I don't call him elder because that's an elder don't conduct himself like that. I'll just say, and I don't apologize. But
Holloway,
yes, he's you know, it's unfortunate, but he's not having it, and they know who we are, but they like to keep this stuff going. But I'm gonna tell you what's worse than that. What's worse than that is people from the inside going over to their side, looking for stuff to carry back. They're going out and getting that bacteria, bringing it back into the camp to stir the pot, to see everybody argue, and then say, but pray for us, we're under attack. You're not under attack, you're going to look for the stuff.
That's facts.
And it's like, what are you doing? You're stirring the pot and you're playing both sides. And I had to repent, and I had to say, oh, this is, you know, because it was like, oh, what they gonna argue about today? And we getting in the chat, we're talking trash and we're tearing down Christians. And it was like, this can't be pleasing to y'all. This feels like it's satisfying my flesh. And so I had to repent for that, and I had to leave it alone. But you know, we are supposed to lead. Yeah, if we are not being persecuted, we need to check our ministries, because the scripture says, blessed is he that is persecuted because of me. It doesn't say, blessed is he that can knock if you buck. You know what I mean? It doesn't say that. Blessed is he that throws the best jab. No, it says that you are, he said, these are my battles. And I was even told by somebody in the truth that when I said, aren't we supposed to allow y'all to fight these battles? Well, you have a Christian mindset. No, I have a Bible mindset, because that's what the word says. And the word didn't say, all right, go out, get him. It's nowhere. And so Yah is just wanting us to stay the course. And he's showing us, and he's warning us, and he's like, there's going to be tears. There's going to be obstacles. What are you going to do? You got to keep your eyes forward, because when you're on an obstacle course and you're running and you see that there's a couple hurdles in the way, but you're watching your opponent, what are you going to do? You're going to trip. You're going to fall down into a hole. You're going to fall over a hurdle, and you're going to bust something up because you're watching your opponent. That's like one of the most profound things I saw during one of I can't remember what year it was. It was during the Olympics. And I don't know if you remember this, but the guy that, what was that real popular swimmer? I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Yeah, Michael Phelps. I watched something so profound. He sat and he stayed in a zone. And there was a guy, you know, one of the people that were going to be competing with him, he was like in his face. He was trying to just taunt him, and he was trying to distract him. And Michael Phelps was just in a zone. He had his earbuds in, and he was in a zone, and he would not move. And the guy was just trying him. So it was finally time for them to, they were all up, and they got up to the block. They all jumped into the water. That guy was watching him so hard. that he lost. And he was all over the place. And he was even watching him while he was swimming. So really, he was trying to mess Michael Phelps up. Michael Phelps was already in his head.
Wow.
He was already in his head, and the guy didn't even know it. And
Man.
he lost. And that's how we have to be. Whenever these obstacles and these, we're supposed to stay forward. We're supposed to know the enemy's going to try to do that. He's watching us. And he's got people by design set up for us to go through these things. What are we going to do? You're going to look at them? You're going to watch them? There's no salvation watching somebody who's already falling. Our salvation is when we look up. He says, look to the hills. That's where your help comes from. And so we have to stop worrying about what everybody's doing. You have to stop worrying about all of that. We just have to stay the course. Stay in your lane. That's what Michael Phelps did when he got up on that block and he dove. What did he do?
Come on.
He swam in his lane and he won.
Wow.
He didn't let that dude get to him, and dude failed miserably.
Man.
And it's like if we would just realize that, what do I care? It's like every ministry that is righteous, I want to see make it. And I'm rooting for every ministry, and I'm praying. And those who have fallen off, I'm praying for them because I'm concerned, because I want to see near one of my brothers or sisters go to hell. But at the same time, I'm not going to let you come to me down a ministry. And so I just think that it's very sad that we're thinking so inwardly. And if we think inwardly and we're arguing and we're debating and I know more and I'm sure and you don't, then it doesn't become about Yah anymore. And it doesn't become, and you can't see his reflection anymore, because all I'm doing is looking inwardly, because what I'm really trying to do is validate myself because I'm broken. And if we would just deal with the healing and that needs to be done, we don't need, the validation comes from the Most High. I have to expect the opposition. And it hurts and it's hard, but he's like, stay the course. Stay the course.
Man.
Stay the course. You see people that they pull a hamstring and they hop across the finish line. Stay the course. Stay focused. Because if you go out of your lane and when you're running track, you're disqualified. Stay the course. Stay pressed forward. And if we would, and that's my prayer for my people. Okay, last question. What advice would you give? Praise Yah. What advice would you give to those who are just waking up?
Oh man, I really will hope and I pray that they will have someone to talk to that is in the awakening, that's healthy. Not in the awakening and they mad, this, that, and the other, and sending a whole bunch of videos and charging them up, right? But somebody that's in the awakening and healthy, someone that's mature, and someone that, because if they go through the angry phase, excuse me, you got somebody there to say, yeah, been there, done that, understand that, but just know this, that, and the other. To tell them the things like you're saying, stay the course. And just hold on to it. Don't, because if you get around some people, because that's what happened to a lot of believers. They get around people who are not in the faith, and they don't take all that advocates. So then you be like, yeah, I am doing too much. And I just need to just, so if you coming into the faith and you all excited and you around people that it don't take all that, your identity in Christ, then it's gonna be like, oh, I really don't need that. So my hope and my prayer is that they come across a ministries, somebody that's in the faith, that's not toxic though, and they're empathetic and they understand, right? They're empathetic and they understand where they at, right? And they almost like a discipleship into the awakening, and to help them out. You know what I mean? And even to the point of the guys on the corner, like I sit and I watch them, I hear them, I even know, and it's like, I understand, brother. I understand, sister. I really do. I really, really do. I really do. However, I pray for them too. They're not the enemy. They're not, you know what I mean? And somebody that's going back and forth. I understand. And because the Most High would just hit you with this awakening. I had a cousin to say, but I got a question to ask you. First cousin, are we the people? Just like that. And I'm like, what?
Oh, wow.
This is my cousin. What? Where do you get that from? What do you? What? How you? I mean, what? What? The Most High will hit you with it. Somebody who was not woken in 2017, 2018, they waken. 2019, somebody's going to awaken this year, this month.
That's right.
This week. And it's kind of be difficult sometimes, but a lot of the people I know there in that church, they come from church families, or they're a minister in a church, or they, you know, their uncle's a deacon, or they've been at this church for 20 years, and you sitting there, the Most High just hit you with that. So it's like, wow, you need support at this time. You're not going crazy, right? You're not falling away,
Facts.
right? You're not lukewarm. You're not, you know, rebellion and going against the angel of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You actually, it's the angel of the house going against the Mashiach. Like you say, follow me as I follow Christ. Are you following Christ? You want me to follow you and bring you some grape juice and a napkin, but and it's okay with that. But are you following the Mashiach? You feel what I'm saying? Or are you building your own kingdom? Because you can build your own kingdom, right? 501c3 tithes, offerings. I ain't against none of that, but I'm just saying, don't build your own kingdom and forsake his kingdom, right? It's bigger than all that, right? If they outgrew your ministry, let them go. Lead them to, let them pray for them, right? They ain't left the faith. People think that you done left the faith because you done left their ministry. And if they left, they was with us. They never was among you. That scripture, they never was. No, that brother, that sister was faithful. They was there, right? They served in the ministry, right? They did all of that stuff, right? They paid their tithes and offerings or whatever the angel of the house told them to do faithfully. And then they come to a bump in the road, and it's time for them to depart. And Satan then drug them out the church house. No, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
That's right.
They didn't leave the faith because they left your building. That's prideful. They didn't leave. So it's kind of like I really hope that they get some kind of support.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, you're good. Another thing I was thinking, and it was one of my experiences that I would see, and that was one of my first YouTube videos that I did, was at my church when you left. And there was a lot of abuse in that church. And when you find, and there was a lot of politics and a lot of, just a lot of wickedness. Let's just call it what it was. And this one woman would always say she's never going to be blessed. And it never occurred to her to pray for that person. It never occurred to her that she was speaking a word curse over that person. And it never occurred to her that if that's your brother or sister in Hamashiach, you should want the very best for them, even if they leave, even if they're wrong. But that was always the motive. She'll never be blessed. And, if they got sick or something happened, I told you, see, I was like, yeah, but the pastor got breast cancer. So, no, that was for ministry. That was for ministry. Oh, okay. And I'm not saying, I'm not one of those people that when something happens to somebody, I'm like, see, because you never know. What I'm saying is we have to be very careful with what we say and how we put our mouth on people, because to me, if you leave the flock, there's never, even to this day, and I left back in 2013, either 2012 or 2013. Might have been 2012. And they're still doing the same thing. They're still running people out. The church is pretty skeletal now because they're obsessed with the pastor. She's in her 80s. Her husband done died. And y'all still doing the same thing. It's sick.
Yeah.
And it's sad. And so, a lot of people don't realize it's for their destruction because they made the church their Alua and not Yah. And I'm not making, I don't, the ministry and the work I do, I don't want anybody trying to put me on a pedestal because I'm just as broken as the people I'm teaching. I'm just trying to use what Yah has helped me through in order for people to get delivered. And so, we see people want to put people on pedestals, and they could be wrong as two left shoes, but boy, they'll get a whole bunch of likes. We can't do that. We have to pray for those people that are in error, and we have to love them enough to say, bro, you're wrong. Even if you send them a side message. Somebody posted today about us, people that are Hebrew don't know the Bible. And it's like, well, then aren't we supposed to pray for them? You don't know what they came out of. How do you know they just came out of a situation where they were lost or confused or mistaught? Because a lot of us, we stand on what we've been taught, but we've been taught wrong. But we fight for it. But if we tear them down, what did they just come out of? We don't consider these things. How was this person taught? What kind of angle can I reach them at? Some people are not reachable, but what if we tried a different angle? And then you pray for them. You don't have to argue with anybody and pray. Like, I had, we did a conference a couple of years ago, and this guy jumped in. Ain't no women supposed to be teaching. And some, the woman that I was co-ministering with, she called me upset. I said, "What you upset for?" We're supposed to deal with this. But you don't have to argue with it. You don't have to go back and forth. Y'all already justified this. And so I told him, bro, we're not going to fight with you. We're not going to argue with you. You are well within your rights to feel what you feel, but maybe it would be more beneficial for you to follow a platform that goes along with your beliefs. And he kept trying and kept trying. And I told her, don't say a word. And he went away.
Wow.
And so, I just feel like we have to just think about what we're doing and who we're doing it for.
Man.
And I'm like, yeah, search my heart. I had somebody tell me, you got to be careful. Don't get caught up in numbers. So what if your platform isn't this or that? Just be careful. Don't get caught up in the politics. And they were just very kind and caring and a little hard, but I needed it. Be careful. Yeah. Make sure your motive and your heart doesn't change for why you're doing what you're doing. And I wanted to hear that, and I'm grateful for that. We have to be able to hear that harsh type of because that right there, my people, that's real love. When you have somebody that loves you enough to be like, you're wrong, and asking, I was kind of kicking it with this brother, and man, he would just surf everywhere trying to debate with everybody. And I asked him, I'm like, well, let me ask you something. How does this contribute to kingdom building? And pleased with this. They couldn't answer it. And he doesn't realize that he hurt people. And they reached out to me, and I know for sure he hurt them deeply. If he doesn't repent, he has to answer for it. And the scripture talks about debating. It's clear. And so it's like, I don't want to argue with people. I just want to what do you think about it? Let's build on it. And that's it.
Good stuff. Man, that's good. That's powerful.
And that's my prayer for us. I just want us to just kind of do more self-reflection. I heard somebody say this, and I kind of stole it as my motto now. Work on yourselves and serve each other. And that's how we're going to end this tonight. Work on yourselves, y'all, and serve each other.
Serve each other. Wow.
The heart of a servant has the mind of Yahusha.
Man.
And the heart of my flesh has the mind of the enemy. And so each and every one of us has an obligation, if we desire to walk in this walk. Where's my heart, and who does my mind reflect? So any last words? Because this was great. I knew it was going to be. This was great.
Man. Wow. I thank you for inviting me. I was excited. And if our y'all before us, who can be against us, right? And I like that when you said stay the course. It reminded me of another. You gave a sports reference, but I thought about basketball. And this in closing, as far as the center, the forward, the small forward, the shooting guard, the point guard, all of them on the same team, and they all do a specific thing. They all do a specific thing, right? And so the center can't be envious of the point guard. The point guard can't be envious of this, that, that. They all got to just work to do. And so if they run out of bounds on purpose, they playing for the other team because the ball going to turn over and the other team going to get it, and they one basket closer to winning. But if you stay the course, stay in your lane, do what you called to do, and don't try to do too much, then you guys will end up winning the game. And that's what he want us to do. And we all got strengths and we all got weaknesses. And we got to encourage people in their weaknesses.
That's right.
And then encourage people in their strengths. Sometimes we can see a strength in somebody else, and we just go spy. We won't even go tell them, oh man, you real strong in that area. You know, keep praying and working in that area and being encouraging to one another, right? And so I just think that we just need to just because at first I was thinking, man, you compromising, man. You need to be raw and edit and truthful. Well, I love truth and edit. I'm not talking about him, but I'm just saying you need to be raw. You need to just bring it because it's grown man conversations. And it's just like, yo, man, we just going to do a recipe and we're going to laugh and we're going to do a game show this week and we're just going to live life. We deal with a lot of trauma, right? And so we just got to love on one another. And because he's coming back for a bride without spot, wrinkle, or blemish. We just got to love on one another until we made it, the image of the Most High is shown in us and permeates through us. So that's what we got to do.
That's right.
So
that's right.
And that's it. To close, I thank you for inviting me. And I had a great time. And it's really, really cool, man. I really appreciate you.
Praise God for you. You're a solid dude, and I see you doing things behind the scenes, helping the community, and I'm excited about because I think you're going to also do a segment on gardening, and so I'm excited about that because I have two purple thumbs. They ain't green. They're struggling, but I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to start off. We're going to do some stuff online, some online webinars and different things like that. And all you got to do is start with something in a pot, a little grow bag or pot, and then you grow one time, and then you'll just get the items for you. Just keep on wanting to do it, right? Okay. You keep on wanting to do it. So yeah, we can get you started with something very simple: a tomato plant, a bean plant. And then you'll never turn back. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we want to grow culture. They say do it for the culture. So we're doing it for a grow culture, play on agriculture. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to show the people to go back to their roots, man. To go back to that was one of the things. And even when we out there, some of the students be like, man, it feel like slavery, ain't it? I said, no. They're trying to get us away from our roots, which was growing, which was all of this different things. That's a life skill. That's a life skill that you need to learn, right? Right? So mustard greens, collard greens, okra, tomatoes, right? Onions, bell peppers. Grow your own bell pepper and pick your own fresh bell pepper. And from the back is amazing. Pick your own lettuce. Pick your own lettuce. Amazing. So we want people to do that with their grow culture.
Yeah, and so I'm just looking out for no that. Okra for me, no tomatoes. And,
I don't even like okra, but I know that's but tomatoes is awesome. They can be fried green tomatoes. They can be stewed. They can be chopped. But I really don't like okra either. But I know our people like okra for some reason.
Yeah. I don't get it. But to each his own. Y'all bless. But yeah, and somebody said that somebody said it was very profound yesterday. He said, the love of money is, it brings about wickedness, but you're out in the field and you're growing your own food to feed your family. That doesn't bring about wickedness. But, like when you're pursuing things that are healthy, things that you want to grow, things that you want to do to take care of your family internally, that doesn't really bring about wickedness, but the love of money does. And so we got to start chasing after things like that. So I'm excited about the garden.
Wow.
And I also want to thank everybody who came to support, who came to hold DB down and hold your girl down. I appreciate you all so much. And I love having you here. And I'm grateful for the feedback, and most of all, I'm grateful for the insight that you gave. You gave some real powerful points up, and we definitely got to have you back again. There's another segment I'll talk to you about it behind the scenes that's going to come that we're going to come together on, and we want to build on male-female relationships, and so
Yes.
you know, I think that's something that's a little contentious in our community, and I'm kind of sick of, well, we need to let's just do it. Let's just come up with a game plan. And so that's coming up, and I definitely want you to be a part of it. And shalom, everybody. Thank you again. I love you, my brother. I appreciate you. And y'all make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel, Elephant Man Podcast. Okay. You got to say it one more time because you know I can't say it fast.
Elephant Man Podcast Network, grown man conversations dealing with elephants in the room. It's your man DB. Like, subscribe, share.
We out. Shalom.
Shalom.